Hi everybody, welcome back to Player Unknowns Battlegrounds, and in this video I wanted to do a kind of introduction of PUBG to people who are currently playing Call of Duty's Warzone Battle Royale. Maybe Warzone is the first Battle Royale that you've had to go with and you're thinking actually you really like that format, and you're really liking Warzone, but what other options out there? And maybe you want something that's a little bit more tactical. So in this video, basically, this is a chicken dinner solo game. So I go through a chicken dinner is a win in PUBG. So I get a win in this. It's not particularly good. I'm very rusty. I've been playing, probably like yourself, playing Warzone for an awful lot of time. I used to play PUBG, thousands of hours of it, but other games came along. And but I've recently thought, no, I'm going to give it a go again. Also, the developer has made lots of changes to the game that I've now become that I've now accepted. And I've decided, I really want to get back into PUBG a little bit more, and play it. And I think other people might enjoy it too. So, obviously, one of the big differences between Warzone and a PUBG is generally, especially on console, people play PUBG in third person rather than in the first person that you'll see in Warzone. And this means that the style of play tends to be a little bit slower anyway, because you can see around corners without having to expose yourself. If you lie down next to a window, or you crouch next to a window, you can see through the window without your character model being on show. And I'm kind of a bit of a believer in the fact that I think third person, you could almost say, is a little bit more realistic, because it allows you to be able to look around in a way that you would in real life. Because when you're playing first person in Warzone or PUBG or other first person shooters, you've got a very limited view in front of you, especially on console. It tends to be limited to about 90 degrees, which is much less than you'd have in real life. But in third person, you can whip that camera around and you can quickly look around like you would in real life. Also, you'll see in terms of looting as well, it's much slower. All the guns that you'll find don't have attachments on, so you have to pick up a gun, and then you've got to pick up an attachment, and then you've got to put the bits on. And this goes as far as magazines, scopes, stocks, grips, all this sort of stuff. So one of the pleasant things I think about PUBG, especially if you play the way I do, which is fairly quietly, is going around and looting and having this sort of little mini adventure when you're picking up guns. In Warzone, it tends to be very much you run up, you pick up you pick up that gun, and then you're ready to fight straight away. When the action starts. PUBG, it's not. The other thing that takes a bit longer is you need to find some armor, just like in Warzone, where you find the plates, and there's 3 levels of armor. And you'll need to find a helmet as well, and there's 3 levels of helmets, and bags, and there's 3 levels of bags that way. And then you've got various medical stuff as well, because you don't have auto healing. So we've got bandages, we've got first aid kits, we've got medic kits, and you've got energy drinks that give you a boost that allows you to auto heal, and funnily enough, run a little bit faster. So the looting side of things is a little bit more in depth. The environments that you're fighting in are a little bit more realistic. We'll use the term realistic. The map we're on here is Karakin, and this is actually the smallest PUBG map of them all. Not my favourite map. In fact, this is the one that I like playing the least on. It's a rocky map. It's very small. The players tend to come together in firefights very quickly. There's no vehicles on Karakin either, whereas in the other maps we have things like jeeps, there's motorbikes with sidecars, you've got little buses, you've got pickup trucks, and you've even got motor gliders, those hang gliders with the motors on the back that you can fly around. You've also got, at the moment anyway, a couple of different ways of playing PUBG. You've got casual, which I'm playing here, and you've got ranked. The main difference is that in casual, in order to fill up the lobby to 100 players, or I think it's 60 players on Karakin, if the game will fill up the lobby with bots. Now, before you think, oh, bots, I don't want to fight against bots. If you play in a way like I do, where you tend to jump far, loot safely, and then move in, you don't actually come across that many bots. You know, I played several games yesterday before this chicken dinner, and I don't think I came across a single bot. It tended to be real players, I think, all of the time. And then you have ranked play. Now, in ranked play, there's slightly different rules, and you won't have any bots. And unfortunately, in ranked play, you only have, at the moment anyway, you only have 4-man squads. I mean, you can play squads by yourself, but it'd be you against 4-man squads. Whereas in casual mode, we've got solos, we've got duos, and we've got squads. But you know, I would say play casual to get used to the mechanics. One of the biggest differences you'll get to when you start playing is there's no aim assist. This is almost unique, I think, in console, because it's very difficult with the controller to be able to control recoil. So what they do is, compared to the PC version of the game, recoil is toned down quite a bit, but the guns are a handful. But one of the things that you will really enjoy about PUBG is the feel and the sound of the guns. You know, the guns, when you're firing an AK, you know, it's something very, very powerful that's bouncing around in your hands, that you've really got to control this beast to keep it on target. You know, you have to tap fire, and you've got to really decide on, you know, the range that you're engaging enemies with. You know, do you go full auto? Do you tap fire? Do you use burst like an M16 or something like that? We've also got things like grenades, smoke grenades, stun grenades, flashbangs. There's C4 explosive now in the game in some of the maps, and you've got sticky bombs which you get on Karakin, which you can blow holes in walls in. Only on Karakin though at the moment. The whole story behind PUBG is the lore is that it's kind of like a competition where people are dropped in. However, I tend to think the less you know about the story of PUBG, as in Warzone, you don't really need to know the story. You just need to enjoy the game. Now, what's happening here is, as you can see, the blue is coming in. Now, the blue, or the gas, whatever you want to call it, the force field that creates the circle that gets smaller and smaller, in PUBG is a lot less deadlier than in Warzone. And in fact, on the bigger maps like Erangel and Miramar, you can stay in the blue, in the first blue when it comes in, for a very long time indeed. Very, very, very long. You know, as long as you've got some bandages and some drinks, energy drinks and painkillers to boost up your health, you can stay in the blue for sort of 5 minutes if you wanted to. Unlike in Warzone, where you can probably stay in the blue for a maximum of, I think, about 15 seconds if you've got a gas mask and full armor, and then you're dead. So that creates different situations when you're around the edge of the blue. It also means you have to be very careful when you're around the edge of the blue of people who have been in the blue for a long time coming out and attacking you, because you might think you're safe when in fact you're not. As for gameplay styles, you can just like in Warzone, you can play whatever you'd like. You can dive into the centre, to the built-up areas, to the urban areas and the towns, where everybody's going to get the high density of loot and shoot it out that way, and get killed right from the beginning. Or you can jump far, and you can loot up in safely and then come into the edge of the circle. What's happening here actually in this game is I can hear a guy out in the blue, and he keeps running backwards and forwards. Obviously he knows I'm there, I know he's there, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to either kill me or try and get past me to engage me. In the end, I think he dies to the blue. I end up running off anyway because the blue starts coming in. The blue also moves, depending on which circle it is, much faster than in Warzone. So in Warzone, apart from the first circle, you can outrun the blue, or at least keep ahead of it. In PUBG, most of the time you can't. Depending on which part of the circle you're on, sometimes it will move very slowly and you can get ahead of it, but you should always be thinking, especially when you're on the long side of the circle, so when you're in the part of the circle where you'll have the longest route to get to the next safe circle, that blue could be moving very, very quickly indeed. You see me just throwing a couple of sticky bombs here. So you do have to think ahead a little bit when that happens, and have meds. But as I say, the blue isn't as deadly as it is in Warzone, so you can survive for longer. When it comes to engagements, when it comes to gunfights, this is where PUBG is very, very different. In PUBG, positioning is everything. If you have the advantage on someone, so you're looking at them and they're not looking at you, chances are you will you'll win that gunfight, because you'll be able to kill them before they can turn around and kill you. This is due to the way that the guns work, and especially the way that the armor works. So in PUBG, what happens is when you're wearing an armor vest, as a bullet hits you, what the armor does is it just reduces the damage that that bullet does to your health. It doesn't completely, the armor doesn't take the damage. So what happens in Warzone is when you've, say, got 3 armor pieces, as you got hit, the armor gets damaged, but your health doesn't change. But in PUBG, as you get hit, your health still changes, but it goes down less because you've got armor on, and the armor itself takes some damage. So eventually the armor disappears, and you start taking full damage. What this means is that the time to kill is fairly consistent, even if someone's got the top level 3 armor on. You can still kill them very, very quickly. Now, I'm not saying there won't be some times when you're very lucky, when somebody starts shooting at you, you've got a level 3 vest on, and they're a bit of a potato, and you can turn around and you can shoot them. That might well happen, but it happens a lot less than it does in Warzone. You've always been in the situation where you see someone, you start shooting them, they spin around and they kill you straight away, and you're like, what? And that's really to do with the way that the armor system works. You get one-shot kills to the head with sniper rifles, even if people are wearing level 2 helmets. When people have got level 3 helmets, well, that's the one that looks like a Spetsnaz helmet, that then protects you from insta-death. But with all the others, with all the bolt-action rifles, you can die that way. You'll see supply drops coming in from the air, and they have special weapons in that. They give you some advantages. There's a sniper rifle called the AWM, which is pretty powerful, but it's still only a one-shot kill to the head, just like the Kar 98 and the M24s are. You'll find flare guns around the map that allow you to call in special care packages that can include weapons, or on some of the other maps you can call in different vehicles as well. We used to have an armoured UAZ. I think that's gone now, and you can call in an armoured car, but I haven't seen one for an awful long time. But as you can see, it's all very much military sim style stuff. It's not as serious as something like Armour, but it's in that sort of same vein as those sorts of games, where there's no dead silence you can pick up. There's no heartbeat sensor you can pick up. You really are relying on knowing how to get through a circle safely, and your ears. Sound is so important in PUBG. Listening out for footsteps, hearing people creeping along, hearing doors opening, and then being ready to ambush people. And on the other side of that as well, understanding the noise that you're making as you're moving along. Changing your speed as you're approaching places, looking for things like open doors, looking for vehicles that are out of place, looking for where you're going somewhere and maybe the loot isn't isn't quite in the same place. There's a good example there actually of when you get shot at. What happens in PUBG is you'll especially when it's from a medium to long range, you'll hear 2 sounds. You'll hear the whiz of the bullet hitting the going past you, or hitting the ground near you, or hitting your body, so you get that noise, and then you'll get a crack of the rifle being fired, and so you've always got to listen for the second crack, because that tells you the direction they're coming from, unless they're using a suppressor. And if they're using a suppressor, that sound will be muffled. You'll still be able to hear it, but it won't be quite so obvious where it's coming from. If you look in the bottom right corner, you've got the mini-map, and as you can see, people don't appear on the mini-map. Your teammates do when you're playing together, but nobody else does. Even if they're firing weapons, there's no little red dots to fire at that way. But it's very important to keep an eye on the map and sort of to plan your next move, to look at the topography, look at the lay of the land, and then moving accordingly. Now, as I say, this map, Karakin, as you're watching this, is pretty bare. It really is, just a gunfighting map that encourages players to come together quickly. Whereas the other maps, especially Erangel is my favourite map. That's the original, that's the OG PUBG map. Really enjoy that one. It's absolutely massive. You've got built-up areas, you've got a military base, you've got boats, you've got the hang glide, you've got Miramar, which is absolutely massive map. You won't believe that one. You need to get a vehicle when you're in Miramar. You've got Vikendi, which is the snow map, which has kind of been neutered a bit. It's not quite as snow as it used to, but that has trains on. And you've got Sanhok, which is the jungle map, which, although it's a little bit bigger than this map, it has very, very short lines of sight because there's lots of foliage, lots of trees, and the ground goes up and down an awful lot. So often you can't see people that much in the distance. So anyway, PUBG, you know, if you're playing Warzone at the moment and you're thinking you really enjoy the buzz you get from playing a battle royale, you know, getting into those top 10 situations, getting into those top 5s, getting the sweaty palms, that is magnified probably at least twice in PUBG, because what's happening in PUBG is the only ambient sounds you've got when you're playing is the wind and your footsteps and the doors opening and things like that, and then the gunfire. There's no music going along. And so it's quite calm as you're going around, and then you'll hear gunfire in the distance. You might get into the odd gunfight yourself, but you're looking in the top right corner, and you're looking at the number of kills, and the number of people left, and it's slowly going down, and you're slowly getting more and more tense. And because there's no aim assist on the guns, as you get more tense, as you get more nervous, your shooting gets worse, and the game doesn't help you with it because there's no aim assist. That guy walked into that one, didn't he? And even the most experienced players, especially when you're playing solos like this, is when you're getting into that top 5 situation, that top 3 situation, where there's a chance you might win, where you've been playing for 20 minutes, when you've been playing for half an hour on the bigger maps, you just start to tense up, and you'll start to get sweaty, your hands will start to shake a little bit, and the adrenaline buzz you get when you win, for me anyway, especially when I play solos, is absolutely amazing. All these sort of, I guess it's been out for 3 years now, PUBG, all of this time after all, really is a very, very special game. And hopefully, with some of these changes that the developers are going on, it's kind of getting back on track a little bit. And they've sorted out lots of the bug fixes by the look of it. They've got it working smoothly. And I myself, I've kind of come to accept the changes, and I'm just getting on with it and enjoying PUBG for what it is. So there we go. If you enjoy COD Warzone, please, when it goes on sale, when it goes down to like £15, get yourself a copy of PUBG for Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC, and play a more tactical battle royale. But I'll leave you with the rest of the gameplay. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.